Great Sphinx of Giza rises from the desert like a silent sentinel, its massive limestone body stretching across the plateau in front of the pyramids. Carved over 4,500 years ago, it has watched countless generations pass beneath its shadow. Its lion's body and human face have long inspired awe, speculation, and admiration, standing as one of the most iconic monuments of ancient Egypt. For most visitors and historians, the Sphinx is a symbol of pharaonic power, a guardian of the pyramids, and an architectural marvel of its age. But beneath its monumental form lies a question that has quietly captivated explorers and researchers for centuries. What, if anything, is hidden beneath it? The earliest whispers of hidden chambers trace back to the 19th century, when European explorers began systematic surveys of the Giza Plateau. Giovanni Battista Caviglia, an Italian excavator working in the early 1800s, was among the first to notice something unusual. As he cleared sand and debris from around the Sphinx, he recorded depressions and fissures at its base that seemed out of place, even suspicious. These anomalies were small, shallow cavities and uneven limestone surfaces, but they suggested the possibility of spaces carved intentionally, or perhaps left unfinished by the original builders. At the time, such ideas were dismissed by many scholars as mere natural erosion. The desert wind and occasional flooding could wear down limestone over millennia, creating features that might appear artificial. Yet the curiosity persisted. In the 1920s, Egyptian archaeologist Selim Hassan undertook one of the most comprehensive excavations of the Giza Plateau, meticulously documenting every trench and cavity. While Hassan's primary focus was the pyramids, he could not ignore the irregularities at the Sphinx's base. He noted several depressions along its flanks and under its chest, areas where the stones seemed softer or differently layered. Some of these features were tested with rudimentary probes and sounding tools of the era. Though nothing conclusive was found, his notes hinted at what would become a decades-long debate. There were signs that something might lie beneath the Sphinx, yet their origin remained uncertain. Local traditions and oral accounts added another layer to the mystery. Villagers and workers who had lived near the plateau for generations spoke of tunnels and chambers beneath the statue, though these stories were often vague and inconsistent. Some claimed the Sphinx had hidden rooms containing sacred relics. Others described labyrinthine passageways that led to the heart of the desert. While historians have approached such tales cautiously, they were never entirely dismissed. In fact, they kept the idea of subterranean spaces alive, bridging early European observations with centuries-old Egyptian lore. Early investigative methods provided tantalizing but inconclusive evidence. Core samples extracted from the Sphinx's base revealed differences in limestone density, suggesting that the structure might conceal cavities or softer rock formations that could be carved spaces. Trench excavations occasionally uncovered small voids or depressions, but nothing large enough to confirm a hidden chamber. Even in the mid-20th century, ground-penetrating studies, rudimentary by today's standards, registered anomalies in the soil and stone beneath the statue. Some researchers interpreted these as natural fissures, while others speculated that the readings hinted at man-made cavities waiting to be explored more thoroughly. It is important to note that at this stage, the idea of hidden chambers was far from mainstream. Most Egyptologists focused on the Sphinx as a surface monument, a product of royal artistry and geological chance. Yet every time a probe found a void or a trench revealed an unexpected depression, the question resurfaced. Why would the builders leave unfinished spaces beneath one of the most carefully designed statues in history? Could these depressions be part of ritualistic architecture, storage chambers, or something else entirely? These questions quietly challenged conventional understanding, inviting careful and persistent investigation. Even today, the Sphinx guards its secrets with an air of silent patience. No survey, no excavation, and no probe has yet produced a definitive map of what lies beneath. The mystery is not the stuff of sensational legends or fanciful myths, but a real archaeological puzzle that continues to intrigue scientists, historians, and explorers alike. Beneath the Sphinx's imposing visage lies an invitation to look closer, to probe deeper, and to imagine that beneath the familiar surface of this ancient guardian there may be spaces still untouched for millennia. As we step back and consider the Sphinx, it is impossible not to feel the quiet tension of history pressing upward from the ground beneath it. Every erosion pattern, every anomalous reading, every whispered story from past explorers contributes to a picture that is at once tantalizing and frustratingly incomplete. The Sphinx is not merely a relic of the past, it is an active puzzle. For those willing to trace its contours, to examine its depressions, and to study the faint echoes of early explorations, the promise of discovery persists. What is hidden beneath it remains a question, patiently waiting beneath the sun-baked limestone, inviting the next generation of researchers to uncover its secrets. Around 4,500 years ago, the Sphinx was carved into the Giza Plateau, a limestone sentinel rising from the desert under the scorching Egyptian sun. Most archaeologists attribute its creation to Pharaoh Khafre, ruler of the 4th dynasty, around 2500 BCE. At the time, Egypt was at the height of its old kingdom, a period marked by ambitious building projects, carefully planned tombs, and elaborate rituals surrounding death and the afterlife. The Sphinx was more than a monumental statue. It was a symbol, a guardian positioned at the threshold between the living and the eternal. Its construction was not random, but deeply tied to sacred architecture, ceremonial landscapes, and celestial alignments. Understanding the Sphinx's ancient context requires examining why the Egyptians might have built subterranean spaces in the first place. Throughout the Giza complex, tombs, pit graves, and hidden chambers are common. Some served practical purposes: storage rooms for offerings, secure spaces for ritual artifacts, or passageways to tombs of lesser-known nobles. Others were symbolic, designed to mirror the Egyptian cosmology, the journey of the soul, or the hidden realms of the gods. In this light, a void beneath the Sphinx would not be out of place. While no definitive evidence yet proves it was intentionally carved, the presence of similar structures across the plateau suggests that the possibility cannot be ignored. The geology of the Giza Plateau adds another layer of complexity. The Sphinx itself rests on a bed of soft, layered limestone deposited over millions of years. These layers vary in hardness, and over centuries, wind and occasional flooding have eroded the softer strata, naturally forming fissures and cavities. This has long fueled debate among researchers. Are the depressions and voids beneath the Sphinx the result of human engineering, or simply the work of geological processes? The distinction is not always clear because both forces, man and nature, can leave similar traces. Even careful examination of erosion patterns sometimes leaves more questions than answers. Ancient builders had a remarkable understanding of their materials. Limestone could be shaped for monumental projects, and Egyptians knew how to select the denser layers for structural integrity. It is not inconceivable that they intentionally used softer layers beneath the Sphinx to carve hidden spaces or to accommodate features now lost to time. Historical restoration records hint at this possibility. Over the centuries, parts of the Sphinx have been repaired and reinforced, and during some of these restorations, workers encountered depressions, tunnels, and hollows that were not visible from the surface. For example, during 20th century excavations, Zahi Hawass documented cavities near the pores and beneath the neck, which may have been remnants of original construction or later interventions. Such findings demonstrate that even centuries of observation have not fully unveiled the Sphinx's underlying structures. Egyptian beliefs also influenced architectural choices. Sacred alignment was key. Temples, pyramids, and statues were oriented toward the Nile, specific stars, or celestial events. The Sphinx faces almost directly east, toward the rising sun at the equinox, linking it to solar worship and divine protection. Hidden chambers beneath the statue could reflect this ritual significance, perhaps serving as symbolic passageways, places for offerings, or subterranean sanctuaries meant to connect the living world with the spiritual. These considerations remind us that every design decision was deliberate, steeped in both function and meaning. Other known subterranean sites around Giza offer context for why hidden spaces under the Sphinx are plausible. Nearby, tombs and underground burial complexes reveal an intricate network of chambers and passageways carved into the bedrock. Some are simple storage areas. Others are elaborate, with multiple corridors and small shrines. These patterns show that ancient Egyptians were not only capable of creating underground spaces, but did so with purpose and precision. If similar techniques were applied beneath the Sphinx, the results could easily remain invisible for millennia, concealed beneath layers of sand and stone. Despite centuries of study, the challenge remains for modern researchers to separate human engineering from natural processes. Every erosion pattern, fissure, and depression could be explained in multiple ways. Some anomalies may be geological, others could be man-made, intentionally hidden, or forgotten over time. The Sphinx sits at a crossroads of history, geology, and mythology, and its secrets cannot be unraveled by observation alone. Modern technology, from seismic scans to electrical resistivity tests, has provided more detailed insight than ever before, yet it has not produced definitive answers. The line between natural formation and intentional construction remains faint, like a shadow in the limestone. Ultimately, the ancient context of the Sphinx reminds us that this is more than a puzzle of stone. It is a convergence of human ingenuity, spiritual belief, and geological happenstance. The plateau itself is a record of complex civilizations, careful planning, and sacred intent. Beneath the Sphinx, whether hidden chambers exist or not, lies the enduring question of what the builders envisioned and what they chose to conceal. It is this interplay between what is seen and what is hidden, between stone and story, that continues to draw researchers, historians, and curious minds back to Giza, eager to explore the Sphinx's silent, shadowed depths. Even now, as the desert winds brush against its massive form, the Sphinx maintains a quiet tension. It is not merely a relic of Egypt's past, but a living enigma, one that challenges us to understand the minds, beliefs, and methods of the people who built it. Every fissure, every layered stone, and every subtle depression may hold a fragment of an ancient plan, preserved beneath millennia of sand. For those who look closer, who study its limestone bedrock and the records of past explorations, the Sphinx remains a puzzle, and beneath it, the possibility of hidden spaces continues to stir the imagination. By the mid-20th century, the Sphinx had long captivated archaeologists, but modern techniques finally allowed researchers to study what lay beneath its massive form in a systematic way. Excavations and surveys moved beyond clearing sand and debris, shifting toward careful, scientific investigation. Among the earliest modern efforts was the work of Salim Hassan, who, in the 1920s and 1930s, conducted some of the most detailed trench surveys across the Giza Plateau. Hassan's primary goal was the surrounding pyramids and tombs, but the Sphinx inevitably drew his attention. As he dug trenches near its pores and flanks, he uncovered depressions and small cavities in the limestone bedrock, features that were difficult to explain. Were they simply natural fissures caused by millennia of erosion, or had the ancient builders intentionally carved them? Hassan noted these irregularities meticulously, but without clear evidence of chambers, his findings remained tantalizingly incomplete. Decades later, research shifted toward more advanced technology. Zahi Hawass, one of Egypt's most prominent archaeologists, oversaw a series of investigations in the late 20th and early 21st centuries using tools that Hassan could only have imagined. Electrical resistivity testing, seismic scans, and early forms of ground-penetrating radar offered unprecedented insight into the limestone beneath the Sphinx. These surveys revealed anomalies, areas beneath the pores, under the neck, and in the chest region, where the stone registered differently from the surrounding bedrock. Some zones appeared hollow, as if cavities or tunnels might exist just out of reach of direct observation. The technical details of these scans are often challenging for the public to interpret, but their implications are simple and compelling. There are spaces beneath the Sphinx that deviate from natural limestone layers. Some archaeologists argue these are natural voids formed by erosion over thousands of years. Limestone of the Giza Plateau is layered with softer bands prone to weathering, and fissures could develop along these weak points. Others contend that the hollows correspond with locations where ancient builders might have carved hidden chambers for ritual, storage, or symbolic purposes. The truth remains elusive because the anomalies are subtle and excavation is difficult. Any attempt to explore them carries the risk of destabilizing the Sphinx itself, one of the world's most treasured monuments. Artifacts and inscriptions have occasionally added to the intrigue. During some surveys and minor excavations, small fragments of pottery, limestone blocks, and sediment layers were recovered near depressions, hinting at human activity. In some areas, tool marks suggested deliberate shaping of stone surfaces, though these could also be remnants of ancient restoration work. In 1954, for example, restoration teams discovered a cavity near the right pore that contained debris and stones aligned in a way that suggested prior human intervention. Each piece of evidence contributes to a puzzle that is neither simple nor complete. The human side of this investigation is equally compelling. Researchers often work in extreme heat, surrounded by shifting sand and the glare of the desert sun, carefully documenting each anomaly and mapping every depression. Progress is slow, measured in millimeters and hours of painstaking recording. Frustration is common. Some probes and scans produce conflicting readings, and the line between natural formation and human construction is rarely clear. Yet every discovery, no matter how small, adds a layer of understanding and sometimes raises more questions than it answers. The Sphinx's secrets extend beyond simple voids. Sediment layers beneath the statue reveal a complex history of restoration, erosion, and human activity. Over the centuries, ancient Egyptians repaired sections, and later restorations in the 19th and 20th centuries sometimes altered or filled cavities without recording the work. This layering complicates modern interpretation, as a hollow may be natural, ancient, or the result of restoration. Every anomaly must be evaluated with caution, combining archaeological observation, historical documentation, and modern technology. Even with advanced scans, some areas remain inaccessible. Ground-penetrating radar, while useful, has limitations. Hard limestone, shifting sediments, and complex structural formations create interference that can obscure findings. Seismic testing can identify hollows, but it cannot confirm whether a space was intentionally carved, nor its purpose if it was. Researchers often work with incomplete data, piecing together evidence from multiple sources to build the most likely picture. This delicate balance between curiosity and caution shapes every expedition beneath the Sphinx. Despite decades of effort, the Sphinx continues to guard its mysteries. Each excavation, scan, and survey uncovers new anomalies and subtle hints of hidden spaces, yet nothing definitive has emerged. The tension between discovery and uncertainty is a hallmark of this work. Every finding could represent a natural formation, a restoration artifact, or the remnants of a hidden chamber lost to time. Researchers accept that they may never know the full truth, and yet the pursuit itself is a journey into the heart of Egypt's past. For those who study it, the Sphinx is more than stone and sand. It is a living enigma, a layered monument bridging history, engineering, and ritual significance. Beneath its paws and beneath its chest, under the shadow of its stoic gaze, lie spaces that might hold clues about ancient practices, long-forgotten construction methods, or hidden corridors meant for ceremonies we can barely imagine. While much remains uncertain, the evidence gathered over decades paints a picture of a monument whose secrets are not fully revealed, inviting every researcher, historian, and curious observer to look closer and continue the exploration. The story of the Sphinx's hidden spaces is not one of instant revelation. It is a slow, deliberate process of discovery, testing, and documentation. And in this process, we see the intersection of human curiosity, ancient ingenuity, and the quiet persistence of history itself. Even as technology improves and new scans are conducted, the Sphinx remains a puzzle, a reminder that some of the most profound mysteries lie not in what is immediately visible, but in the shadows beneath the stones, waiting patiently for those willing to uncover them. Beneath the stoic gaze of the Sphinx, a quiet but intense debate has been unfolding for decades. The discoveries of cavities, depressions, and unusual voids sparked curiosity, but they also divided experts. Geologists examining the natural processes that shape limestone over millennia argue that much of what has been identified beneath the Sphinx is simply erosion. The Giza Plateau's limestone is not uniform. It consists of layers of varying hardness, interspersed with softer bands, prone to weathering. Over thousands of years, wind, rain, and the occasional flash flood could carve fissures and hollows into the bedrock, creating patterns that might appear deliberate. To a trained geologist, these features are natural consequences of time, not evidence of hidden chambers. Yet archaeologists see a different picture. They point to anomalies revealed in surveys and excavations, such as depressions beneath the paws and the chest, as potential signs of man-made spaces. Some of these voids align with areas that might have ritual or symbolic significance, suggesting the possibility of chambers or tunnels deliberately carved by the builders. The contrast between natural erosion and intentional construction is subtle, often imperceptible to the untrained eye, but it forms the heart of the scientific debate. Determining whether a hollow in the limestone is natural or artificial is not a matter of opinion alone. It is a complex question requiring meticulous analysis. In the 1990s, this debate intensified when seismic surveys conducted by French and Japanese teams revealed unexpected readings beneath the Sphinx. Using non-invasive techniques, the researchers mapped areas of the bedrock that registered as unusually hollow compared to surrounding stone. Some interpreted these anomalies as potential hidden chambers or ritual spaces, while others remained skeptical, attributing the readings to natural voids within the limestone. The surveys were carefully documented, yet they could not resolve the ambiguity. Even with advanced equipment, the scans could indicate the presence of a cavity, but they could not confirm its purpose, origin, or dimensions with certainty. Caution has been a recurring theme among Egyptologists and engineers. Leading voices in the field, including Zahi Hawass and other senior archaeologists, have emphasized that excavation beneath the Sphinx must be approached with extreme care. The Sphinx is an ancient monument, its limestone weathered and fragile in places. Digging or drilling without precise planning could damage the very features researchers are trying to study. Structural engineers have warned that removing even small amounts of supporting rock could destabilize the statue. These concerns temper enthusiasm for immediate exploration and highlight the tension between curiosity and preservation. Skeptics also caution against interpreting every anomaly as a secret chamber. Human fascination with hidden treasures can skew perception, and the Sphinx has long attracted sensational claims, from lost knowledge to speculative ritual spaces that are not grounded in evidence. Modern scientists are careful to separate documented findings from speculation. Seismic readings, resistivity scans, and ground-penetrating radar can all detect unusual density or voids in the limestone, but none can definitively reveal whether these spaces were intentionally carved. Each method has limitations. Seismic waves may scatter unpredictably in layered rock, electrical resistivity can be affected by moisture content, and radar signals may fail to penetrate denser stone layers. Consequently, results are debated, interpreted differently by different teams, and often revised as technology improves. The clash of opinions extends beyond interpretation to methodology. Some researchers advocate for further non-invasive exploration, including more advanced scanning techniques that could map the Sphinx's subsurface in greater detail. Others argue for careful, minimally invasive excavation guided by precise imaging to explore cavities that might be accessible without compromising the monument's stability. Each approach reflects a different balance between risk, reward, and scientific rigor. The debate is as much about how to study the Sphinx safely as it is about what might exist beneath it. Despite all this scrutiny, a striking truth emerges. The more we investigate, the more complex the picture becomes. Every new scan, every subtle anomaly raises questions rather than offering clear answers. Are the depressions beneath the pores natural voids, or are they hidden chambers filled with ritual significance? Are small cavities evidence of ancient construction techniques, or remnants of restoration work from centuries past? Even the experts cannot agree, and the Sphinx continues to withhold definitive evidence. In many ways, the debate itself is a window into the monument's enduring mystery. It reveals the layers of history, engineering, and geology that make the Sphinx so compelling. The tension between natural formation and human construction mirrors the tension between what is known and what remains hidden. Every discovery invites deeper scrutiny, and every unanswered question reinforces the monument's role as both guardian and enigma. For those who study it, the Sphinx is not simply a statue but a puzzle, a challenge to untangle the subtle interplay of nature, human ingenuity, and the passage of time. Even as technology advances and non-invasive scanning becomes more precise, the debate continues. Some scientists hope future methods may finally distinguish natural voids from man-made chambers, while others acknowledge that certain answers may remain elusive. The Sphinx, after all, has endured millennia of wind, sand, and human curiosity, and it may well guard its secrets for centuries more. For now, researchers watch, measure, and interpret, fully aware that in archaeology, certainty is rare. The mystery lies not just in what might exist beneath the statue, but in the ongoing conversation between evidence, interpretation, and imagination. Ultimately, the clash of experts underscores the Sphinx's complexity. It is not a puzzle that can be solved with a single survey or excavation. Its stone tells multiple stories, of ancient builders and their intentions, of natural forces sculpting the bedrock, and of modern researchers striving to understand it all. The scientific debate reminds us that history is rarely simple, and that sometimes the pursuit of knowledge is as significant as the answers themselves. Beneath the surface of this colossal monument, both mystery and method coexist, quietly challenging us to explore, question, and marvel. Today, the Great Sphinx of Giza continues to command attention, not just as an ancient monument, but as a living mystery. Despite centuries of study and decades of technological advances, the question of what lies beneath it remains unresolved. Modern research initiatives have brought new tools and expertise to the task, blending archaeology, geology, and conservation in unprecedented ways. Teams from Egypt and around the world are now working together to map the Sphinx's underbelly more precisely than ever before. International collaborations combine the latest in ground-penetrating radar, seismic tomography, and 3D modeling, offering the possibility of revealing subtle voids, hidden chambers, or construction features that were previously invisible. Conservation has become a parallel focus alongside exploration. The Sphinx has suffered from erosion, human interference, and centuries of environmental wear. Restoration projects, both historic and ongoing, aim to stabilize its limestone body while simultaneously allowing scientists to investigate safely. Careful attention is paid to every probe, scan, or excavation because even the smallest disturbance could affect the monument's structural integrity. These efforts highlight the delicate balance between curiosity and preservation. Researchers want to uncover what is hidden, yet they must do so without compromising the centuries-old stone that has survived millennia of wind, sand, and sun. What has been definitively ruled out is just as important as what remains uncertain. Large-scale burial chambers, such as those found beneath nearby pyramids, have not been discovered under the Sphinx. Excavations and scans have not revealed grand tombs or repositories of treasures, which helps ground expectations in reality. Yet the tantalizing anomalies persist. Small voids, subtle depressions, and unusual density readings continue to appear in scans beneath the paws, the chest, and other regions of the statue. Some may represent unfinished tunnels, ritual spaces, or storage areas that were never completed. Others might be natural cavities in the limestone, shaped over millennia by erosion. The key is that no anomaly has been definitively mapped, leaving the Sphinx's underworld largely a question mark, still open to interpretation. Part of the fascination lies in the intersection of natural forces and human ingenuity. The Sphinx is a product of both, carefully carved by humans yet shaped over thousands of years by wind, sand, and occasional rain. Every cavity, fissure, or depression tells a story that is at once geological, historical, and archaeological. Researchers must tease apart these layers, often with incomplete data, to understand what is natural and what is crafted. This layered complexity is precisely what makes the Sphinx such a compelling subject for ongoing study. It is a puzzle that requires patience, technical skill, and imagination to approach responsibly. Local legends and cultural significance add another dimension to the mystery. Egyptians have long revered the Sphinx, associating it with solar deities, kingship, and the eternal protection of sacred grounds. Stories of hidden tunnels or sacred chambers, passed down through generations, may never be fully substantiated, yet they contribute to the monument's aura of secrecy. For visitors, scholars, and locals alike, the Sphinx represents both tangible history and an intangible enigma, a space where human curiosity meets the unknown. The public fascination is understandable. Images of the Sphinx's massive form staring east toward the rising sun evoke timeless questions. How was it carved with such precision? Why were certain features aligned to celestial events? And most persistently, what lies beneath? This blend of art, science, and mystery ensures that the Sphinx remains a centerpiece of exploration, not just for Egyptologists, but for anyone drawn to the ancient world. The monument itself becomes a bridge between eras, inviting viewers to imagine the hands that carved it, the sands that shaped it, and the centuries it has silently witnessed. Even now, as technology advances, the Sphinx guards its secrets with quiet patience. Every new scan produces intriguing readings, every excavation uncovers subtle anomalies, yet definitive answers remain elusive. Researchers may never fully map every hollow or confirm every purpose, for the spaces beneath its limestone body. And perhaps that is part of the enduring allure. The Sphinx's mystery is not meant to be fully solved in a single lifetime. Each generation of explorers, archaeologists, and scientists adds a layer of understanding, even as the monument continues to challenge assumptions and inspire questions. Standing before it today, one cannot help but feel the weight of millennia pressing down from the surrounding desert. The Sphinx is both a relic of the past and a living symbol of inquiry, reminding us that some questions are never fully answered, and yet the pursuit of knowledge is itself a form of discovery. Beneath its pause, its chest, and its silent gaze, the possibility remains that hidden spaces still exist, spaces that may tell stories of ancient engineering, ritual practice, or symbolic design. The mystery is real, grounded in history and geology, yet open to interpretation, a challenge that beckons the curious and the careful alike. In the end, the Sphinx remains an icon not only of ancient Egypt but of the human drive to understand, explore, and uncover. While we may not yet know everything hidden beneath its massive form, the effort to seek those answers keeps the Sphinx's shadow alive in both science and imagination. It is a monument that invites observation, analysis, and wonder, a reminder that sometimes the journey toward understanding is as important as the discovery itself. For now, its secrets remain, quietly awaiting those willing to look deeper, think carefully, and imagine the possibilities hidden beneath one of the world's most iconic monuments.